one group that we didn't talk about on the offensive side too was the tight end group, which could be a lethal. Those are the boys, and honestly, we're talking about weapons. Like, I believe that they will continue to use this tight end room that is also deep. I mean, it sounds like we're like, honking that horn that this offense is going to be unreal. It is. In my opinion, I think it's going to be a very dangerous offense, and they're reloading, not rebuilding here. So, you start off with Erick All, and then I'll let you talk about the rest of the guys too.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Erick All coming back. We saw what he did last year. Huge size, great hands. Schoonmaker came out, kind of bursted onto the scene. He'll be back next year. I think we got a couple of young guys that are there. You got Joel, who's there for his 25th year now.
Joel Honigford, yeah,
our boy. I think he's a dark horse Heisman guy. So keep an eye on Joel Honigford
as a blocking tight end. You don't see that very often.
You don't. But I think he's got the ability to make that happen. Yeah, I mean,
Carter Seltzer.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy when we look at it now, like, and just mostly because of what happened last year, and you look at what they had to replace. Obviously, you can't. It's hard to replace that leadership from Vastardis. It's hard to replace that talent from Stuber at the right tackle position. But Michigan's recruited really well at the O-line. I think a lot of those guys, if not all of them, were like 4 or 5-star lineman recruits. And then you get Olu to replace Vastardis at the center position. I think he's projected to be like one of the top centers in the draft next year.
Right.
So I think that line, if anything, stays the same, if not improves. And that's where you're losing most of the guys. So, I mean, if we can replicate, what the offense did last year, maybe Cade improves a little bit on his passing, not that he had to improve much. And then obviously you have Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards in the backfield. I don't think this offense, unless the coaching staff is drastically changing the play calling system, I think they continue to show out again next year. And possibly improve. There's so much talent that's returning.
You said you don't think that Cade has a ton to improve on his throwing. I think that there are people out there that would disagree with you.
100% there will be. I mean, like we mentioned it earlier on, it was like, his intermediate and short passes were, incredible. He could do that very, very well. But I felt like sometimes his deep balls weren't, super consistent. Because he can throw a good deep ball. He showed to do it many, many times. But he just wasn't consistent for me, for what I would hope to see with like big plays, just because you see like Alabamas and all these Georgias. It seems like every deep ball they throw is a dime, and the receivers catching it in stride, it's touchdown. So stuff like that. That's the biggest thing for me is I'm curious to see what Cade's deep ball looks like. But he's a talented quarterback, man. Like we've got a really good problem here at Michigan with 2 star quarterbacks, and the backup is always the most popular guy on the team, right? From the fans. But I'm excited to see Cade kind of really show out, try to secure his spot. And I hope the fans rally around him, man. He deserves it.
He definitely deserves it. What I don't want is people like booing or anything like that. I think when you think of Cade McNamara, he's not going to make that miraculous throw, but he is very efficient. And that's what Jim Harbaugh likes about him. He's not going to make a mistake. He's going to get move the ball down the field, do what needs to be done. So I have to imagine they're going to do that more, but then like spice it up a little bit, and he's going to improve on those deep balls. It's crazy to me to not think that he's going to improve. Everyone thinks that JJ is going to make that big step. I don't see why Cade can't make a pretty big step himself as well. So that's what I'm excited to see, if he has made some of those big improvements and if he'll show it on Saturday.